Hello and welcome to another edition of XFeed. My name is The Schiller. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Going to be chatting about what we found, and it's felt like kind of a quiet weekend, to be honest. Sometimes we come back from the Saturday and Sundays, and a lot has happened. And for whatever reason, it feels like the calm before the storm, if you will. Everybody's been going on and on about October. Is that actually fact or is it fiction? Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. Let's get into some of the different headlines. Now, I can't get rid of the stupid ad that's on one of these pages, so squeeze me, but it says Vortex Gaming partners with Web 3.0 esports online tournament platform Miracle Play. So I've never heard about Miracle Play before, but going and looking it up, it's got almost 100,000 followers. There is a total of 2 people that I follow that also know what this is, so that seems a little bit weird. But okay. And then you go to their site, and the site just has a lot to be desired, if I'm totally honest. Dive into tournaments, conquer the game. It's got this kind of like running text of different headlines. I'm assuming the first language isn't English for whoever has created the site, because it goes through some other ones, but apparently it's super slow, so it's not going to show. But the other games in here, it's got B&B base. You can connect to a whole bunch of different chains on there. But again, the esports industry, we don't really see it too much within the Web3 space, but I do think at some point it will be much, much bigger. Now, with that actually said, though, thinking about it a little bit, we have seen where Valhalla originally had some different esports teams that were a part of their initial drop with like the likes of T1. I think Team Liquid has been a part of some different happenings within the space as well. NRG with Guild of Guardians, but it's been kind of quiet, to be totally honest. Going over to Cointelegraph on the right side, the hot stories of the day. Diamond Hands Ethereum holders makes 131 million in 2 years. Holy smokes. Kamala Harris finally breaks silence on crypto. We got some politics. African economy showing high potential for digital asset adoption. All right, you know? But I mean, these articles, they have about 10,000 views. Is that respectable? Is that kind of Do we have any thoughts on it? And we'll get to more specific statistics regarding YouTube a little bit later from Ben Cowan. Searching up NFTs on this, on the Google here, the news story is kind of abysmal. Most of these several weeks out. OpenSea NFT marketplace hit with class action lawsuit over alleged security sales. Again, from last week, virtually nothing happening. Web3 side of things, another piece from Cointelegraph, some from Solana. Opinion pieces. It's just, I don't know. There was basically nothing that was that exciting that ended up happening. Now, speaking of esports, look at these jackets. This is from T1. This Thursday, I believe, is when the World's Championship for League starts. See this jacket in the back right there? You think it'd be cool? I mean, it's like $152, but listen, it's stylish. I kind of want to buy it, to be honest. Now, one thing that you might be watching again is hockey. The preseason for the NHL is officially underway, and some different individuals. Spittin' Chicklets is a podcast. I think they've created some kind of alcoholic beverage as well. But what do we see in the background here? Well, it's an ad for Kraken, one of the crypto exchanges. And I'm thinking, damn, we get more into the winter months. Everybody's, kind of in their different routines now. The summer's starting to subside. The crypto markets pick back up. How much do we see the advertising also do so? Go, Habs, go. Divine hitting the toad. What's going on? Justin, Can't Hold Me Down by Doodles has surpassed 1 million views on YouTube. So good to see on that front. And for the Doodles Rubik's Cube, apparently it's valued at $64,000. I have no idea how they come up with these things initially, but there was some username that was called Batman that ended up buying it, apparently. I don't know if we've gotten any public profile from the individual, but we'll see. And sorry, when I mean buy it, just to clarify, they had kind of like an open mint where you were able to buy these cubes that were NFTs, but you could have also hit that 1 of 1. And this appraisal right here, where the mint cost was absolutely nowhere near this, but they're anticipating that the estimated value is around $64,000. And obviously, Doodles does better over time. You get some whales in the ecosystem, well, things could get a little bit interesting. So Zarda Finance, I guess the aspect of renting out digital assets is becoming more and more prevalent. Just launched Rent Bored Ape, Yacht Clubs, Mutant Ape Yacht Clubs, Heavy Metals, and more to pump your Dooky Dash score. So a lot is being built around Dooky Dash for Yuga Labs and what they're trying to do. And I mean, this is kind of interesting from the perspective of, I think there's a lot of people within Web3 that have accumulated a lot of bags, and they were just kind of expecting, hey, I don't really want to have to do anything with this. So the renting systems, perfect timing. Looking like for renting a mutant ape, they are charging 0.2 ape an hour, which like an ape is $1, so it's 20 cents an hour. The total cost of this one is about $10, and they've had it for 2 days. I don't know. We talk about these AI agents and everything. Obviously, you'd have to play these characters, but imagine if you had AI that you didn't have to do that. But either way, again, liquidity, opportunity, ton of stuff within the space. Love, love, love to see that. Cypher saying, as we head to Q4 2024, who is ready for reboot on ApeChain? So Top Trader, the new app coming to ApeChain, where they allow you to 100x leverage long or short, but you have to 100x leverage, which is kind of crazy in and of itself. It is something that was highlighted last week at the Singapore crypto event. And a lot more conversations are starting to happen around Reboot as it is going on ApeChain, the interoperability, different protocols, and companies focusing on different parts of different chains. There's going to be an infinite amount of options out there. But again, the narrative, the users will be very excited to see. But this individual, 40 meta heroes, and they have a core, which is a huge bag. They got 20 chimpers, 10 Yuga Labs mutants. Listen. That's a hefty bag of NFTs. Now, what's interesting that I saw on the timeline over the weekend was from Aon McDonald, who was highlighting some of the different games that they've been covering. We've looked at Featureverse a lot, and they have a game called The Third Kingdom, one called Open, and the Readyverse, which is more like a studio, from my understanding, unless they just call the whole everything Readyverse. The Readyverse standard. One of them being a strategy simulation game. One of them being a hub where you're able to go have different avatars, experience different scenes in movies, right? Like an area. He references Ake's Garage, if you've ever seen Ready Player One, and the character with the Iron Giant, and they fixed the car. It's really cool to think about, and the aspect of meeting online, the aspect of connecting in a world where it felt like on COVID, around that time, there's a lot of reasons to connect, doing everything digitally. It's felt like that's fallen off a little bit. Remember before people praised, having Zoom calls with friends and family, et cetera, et cetera. You just don't do that a whole lot more. And is there any reason to? Do you not have much to talk about? Well, what if for these experiences, again, as the generations kind of change and everybody is online all the time, what if you get together with your friends and family just doing some kind of like a casual game? You get to have that huge hit of nostalgia and you just get to kind of hang out. Now, is that a stupid idea? Are people actually going to adopt into that? Who knows? But there's a huge thread here. I'm not going to go through all of it, but we got a lot of teams that are cooking out there within Web3 and very excited to see as we move forward. This is nuts. This is nuts and shows the differential of the people that are here engaged every single day versus what actually the narrative is. So Benjamin Cowan highlighting some different stats from YouTube. Viewership to various crypto YouTube channels still remains relatively low, especially compared to 2021. It is interesting how the price of Bitcoin is basically the same as it was in 2021, but social interest in 2024 is a lot lower. So the graph underneath here that's way colorful, they are just kind of highlighting here's what the views are from all these different channels. And it looks like right now it's below 1 million people where the Bitcoin price is moving up. But you can see that interest kind of near the top before. Holy smokes, everybody was Googling crypto and NFTs. That's just not happening this time around at all. People will start paying a premium for things that are made by humans faster than we think. I mean, I guess it depends if people have the budget to do so, if there is a problem with it. I mean, I would make the argument that if you've gone to certain restaurants, you know, sometimes the service is phenomenal. A lot of the times you're probably like, all right, well, they've never checked the table. They've never redone the water. Maybe they're yapping the entire time to other tables and they're talking very loudly. Not that that happened to me recently or anything like that. And it'd be like, well, damn, you know what? If it's easier just to go through the self-checkout counter, it's awkward, right? Because it depends on if you think the service is great, if you think the product is great. Generally agree with this statement, but, you know, faster, cheaper, easier, kind of an interesting world that we live. So we haven't checked out CryptoSlam in quite some time. I would love to encourage you guys to go check it out. It's called cryptoslam.io. They have different stats regarding chains, specific NFT projects. They're saying for the global markets within NFTs, the sales volume of $12.5 million in the past 24 hours, which is up 50%, which is absolutely massive. When we're looking at specific blockchains over on the right here, I don't know if I zoom in, if that's going to be awful, kind of. So for Bitcoin, it's about 4 million with 2,000 buyers. Ethereum, it's just a smidge under that, about 50,000 less, but it's got almost double to triple the buyers on that of 6,495. And that, to be honest, if we just take the Ethereum numbers right there, say, okay, there's 7,000 people that have bought an NFT within the past 24 hours only on Ethereum. You add in Solana to that, that's an additional 14,000. Okay, we're looking at about 20. And then we have all these other ones. So less than about 25,000 people a day right now are purchasing an NFT, at least that's tracked by CryptoSlam. Taking that into account, okay, we definitely have a lot of room to go. So this is kind of cool from the Ottawa Senators. It has nothing to do with NFTs, by the way, but this is a new owner that comes in, absolute Chad, saying, I'm not looking for a money grab. I also don't want our fans to be paying $200 for a ticket and $30 for a beer and $50 for parking. One of the biggest things of why I've said, man, I just think this whole metaverse thing is going to do great is because the things that people love are becoming so expensive to go out and do. You have to get the transportation. You got to, cover food if you're eating at the event. Obviously, there's ways you can do things that are a little bit cheaper. And I mean, for argument's sake, if we're looking at a hockey game, how many home games are there in a year? Like 30 to 40? All right. So you can live without not going to all of them or anything like that. But again, the immersive experiences, the other opportunities, I don't know. Nice little touch here. Kagi highlighting something from Ronin too. I feel like when new Ronin games are announced, we lose momentum when they are not ready to be played, when they have gameplay ready, and integrations with Ronin Wallet and Marketplace migration are not in place. I generally agree. I just think the whole crypto space right now is really bad with hyping something up and it taking absolutely forever for it to happen. This isn't a Ronin only issue. This is just the blockchain space as a whole. So somebody made I think there's probably more than just this one, but I came across my timeline, the argument between V1 and V2 CryptoPunks. So right now, you've probably seen where we've highlighted some massive CryptoPunk sales. And you're like, oh, those are awesome. But what if I were to tell you that those aren't the originals? Well, they kind of are, but not actually. So here's a quick 2-minute video where people are out there and starting to document these V1 punks and curious if they're able to shift that narrative we've been talking about a lot to get more people to really pay attention to them.
One day back in December of 2021, I was contacted by these NFT archaeologists, a group of people whose job it is to search through this blockchain history like gold miners. They're mining, digging a way through the blockchain until finally they find a little nugget. I always knew the story of the bug of CryptoPunk would come out. And even when selling these CryptoPunks, well, I always knew I still had those version 1 CryptoPunks. According to the blockchain, they were first. And the way that blockchains work is once it's out there, you can't take it away. It was immediately a massive thing. People in the community viewed this as an attack upon their ownership of a CryptoPunk. This idea that if they were to legitimize this version 1, their version 2 would be worth less. A couple of days later, we came to learn that Love Labs, they wrote a tweet that's now famous. PSA, V1 punks are not official CryptoPunks. We don't like them, and we've got 1,000 of them. So draw your own conclusions. Any proceeds will be used to purchase real CryptoPunks.
What is complex at this moment is that you are a fight between two strong narratives. On one hand, you have the artist. And the artist is right when he said, this is not an original CryptoPunk. On the other hand, and it's a really strong ideology in the blockchain world, that is basically code is law. it's written forever in the blockchain, nobody, even the artist, is able to decide if it's art or not.
So there's an entire piece to it, but we've talked about narratives a lot. Now we're starting to see it even more. Pro tip, you can try to buy an in-app purchases for Dooky Dash via desktop, not your iOS or Android devices. It's funny that we talk about mobile gaming, but almost all of these have huge rakes that people are like, we don't like it. Same with DoorDash. If you ever go and talk to one of the restaurants, they'll tell you, well, DoorDash charges like 30%, so you guys can come in and purchase from us directly. That's way more appreciated. Well, that's the exact same thing for all of these mobile apps, which to a point, if you think of the monopoly that for Google, Apple, and all of that has, when you go back to what Solana's trying to do with their phone, if they end up getting some of that same traction, getting that revenue that's coming in, maybe the Solana phone angle looks very, very appetizing. But again, just a reminder, if you are playing Dooky Dash and you don't want to have those extra fees, just purchase directly through the desktop. Going back in the day, if you guys ever remember going to Walmart and they had the video game set up, love the Nostalgia Folder X account. I remember those very fondly. Here's a look at the top 3-month performance of the top market cap NFT projects across chains. So let's take a gander. What do we got? Azuki being the best performers with an ROI of 82% plus. Mutant Apes, Doodles, Bored Ape Yacht Club, Pudgy Penguins, Little Pudgies, Galactic Geckos, which is a collection on Solana that also the artist at one point launched a piece on Ethereum, or it was found out afterwards that the same artist from Galactic Geckos did something on Ethereum. And this was like 2 to 3 years ago, but the collection on ETH just absolutely ripped. I'll try to remember it if I can, but it was pretty funny. So CryptoPunks, Solana Monkey Business, Quantum Cats, Node Monkeys, and then it goes kind of downhill from there. Captains, Mochaverse not doing too great. OMB, I want to say that's on-chain monkey, but OMB doesn't fit that phonetically or whatever. And then Milady down 40%, which is a little bit tough, but using the top 25 collections, crazy that when you're looking at that list, Doodles 34%, expected Mutants 36%. I don't really know if that's expected. Now I might be missing something they've offered within that Dooky Dash game, but it seems odd. And Azuki, again, the Singapore event, apparently had some good momentum from it. And also about 3 months ago, I feel, maybe I'm wrong with this, but I feel that was closer to the time the Blur stopped its farming. That might have been only like a month ago, but I feel like it was maybe closer to 2-3. So celebrities, we've highlighted certain things here and there. You might have seen Iggy Azalea on the timeline a lot after the Singapore event, but Warhammer Supervan, Henry Cavill, has been playing Space Marine 2 and says he loves the game. So this is just a guy, you ever seen Superman? Probably seen this dude play it. But Warhammer came out with a new video game, and he's endorsing it, just liking it. Not a paid ad, but imagine when this starts to happen with other Web3 games. Now, we're going into the speculation phase, et cetera, but I do have to remember what it's been like for massive video games who have gone out there and basically paid a ton of top-tier streamers to highlight the game. I've seen it also where it's failed completely miserable because the game isn't fun itself, but I do think that at some point we will have a Web3 or a blockchain-based game that has that. Obviously, it wasn't Midnight Society with Dr. Disrespect for various reasons, but a lot of people pegged that one as the one to do it. All right, Cool Cats, the Milk Chug animated series season 1. It's coming to YouTube and happening soon. So that bigger stage, how are we going to feel about it? Doodle's starting to do that. Cool Cats trying to get out there. Parties from Azuki looked wild, and we'll be continuing to cover it as we move on. Divine Hypnotoad, thank you so much for coming on through. And everybody else watching live and on the VOD, thank you.